It was that
The
hour of
world is
morning in
ours, my
Dusty
love.
Creek when the sun
Forever
hadn't
with
fully
you.
risen
Let me
yet,
hold you.
and the sky held
Yes,
nothing
let's
but a
walk
thin
into the
strip of
sunset.
orange light peeking out from behind the mountains. The air carried a cold that settled into your bones, and the sound of hooves against dry earth traveled far as Cole Harrington rode his black horse toward Callaway Ranch. Cole Harrington. When people heard that name in Dusty Creek, they straightened up without thinking about it. His land stretched so wide that if you started walking at sunrise, you'd hit noon before reaching the other side, and you'd hit darkness before you crossed it whole. When he held the reins, his horse understood before he spoke. His eyes were the color the sky turns before rain. Deep, a little sad, always thinking about something. He wasn't riding to Callaway Ranch today because he had business to settle or land to buy. He was riding there because his heart was pulling him, and a man's heart doesn't ask permission from anybody. Two sisters lived at Callaway Ranch. Margaret and Eliza. Margaret was the older one, 29 years old. Golden hair, blue eyes, a face carved so carefully it looked like someone had spent a long time getting it exactly right. When she walked through town, men's necks turned on their own. When she laughed, it felt like something shifted in the air above. Everyone in Dusty Creek liked Margaret. Everyone thought about Margaret. Every man wanted her to be his, and Margaret knew this about herself. Eliza was the younger one, 27. Brown hair, hazel eyes, that strange in-between color that was neither fully green nor fully brown, carrying some quiet beauty that lived in the middle. Her face wasn't like Margaret's. No one would call Eliza beautiful the way they called Margaret beautiful. But if someone looked closely, really looked, there was something there, a depth, a pull, the kind of thing that doesn't have a name. Eliza always had something in her hands. A book, something she was fixing, something she'd picked up off the ground. She believed in doing things, not talking about them. Dusty Creek called Eliza the other one. Inside the house, it was the same. Their father, Raymond Callaway, had been a wealthy man once. Now he was just a tired old man with a bottle that never left his hand and eyes that carried the kind of sadness that moves in after someone leaves and never moves out again. Eliza's mother had gone when Eliza was 5 years old. Nobody knew the full truth of why she left. Some said there was another man. Some said it was Raymond's hardness. But after she left, her name was sealed shut inside that house, and Raymond took every drop of whatever he'd felt for his wife. The hurt, the rage, the slow poison of being abandoned, and poured it onto his youngest daughter, onto Eliza, because Eliza looked exactly like her mother. Same hair, same eyes, same way of getting up from a chair, same way of sitting still. When Raymond drank and opened his eyes, he saw his wife, and everything that lived inside him, the pain, the anger, the venom of betrayal, it all landed on Eliza. Margaret knew all of this. Margaret had always known. And Margaret had never done a single thing about it. That was the betrayal of the relationship. Quiet, daily, slow, poisonous. Cole met Eliza for the first time at a small spring on the edge of Harrington land. She came there every morning, before anyone else was awake. She'd lower her feet into the water, close her eyes, and sit. Nobody knew about this. Only her. And now Cole. Cole was on horseback, passing through, and he stopped. For a moment he did nothing, just looked. This girl sitting with her eyes closed, feet in the water, hands resting on her knees, and an expression on her face that Cole had never seen on anyone before. People are always trying to show you something. This girl wasn't showing anything. She was just there. Cole held his horse still and sat in silence. Some time passed before Eliza opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was a black horse and a man on it, watching her quietly. She didn't startle, didn't frighten, just said, "You're Cole Harrington." "Yeah," Cole said. "This is a corner of your land." "Yeah. I didn't know." She started to rise. "Stay," Cole said. No command in it, just a statement. "I don't mind." Eliza paused. She looked at him for a moment, the kind of look that tries to pass through the surface of a person and find what's underneath. Then she sat back down. Both of them stayed quiet. The water kept moving. The wind kept going. And there was something in that silence that was larger than anything either of them could have said out loud. Margaret had feelings for Cole. That wasn't a surprise to anyone. Every woman in Dusty Creek had feelings for Cole. But Margaret had a particular way about her, the way of a woman who knows you're watching her and wants you to keep watching. When Cole passed through town, Margaret's laugh got a little louder, her neck tilted slightly, and her eyes met his with a promise they never finished making. Cole saw all of this. He understood it. And that was exactly the problem. Cole had seen a great many things in his life. He'd watched his father beg at a woman's feet while she treated him like something on the bottom of her boot. He'd watched his mother love so blindly that she never once looked up to see where that blind love was carrying her. He knew well enough by now that not everything shining is gold. Margaret shined brightly, and things that shined too brightly had always made Cole uneasy. The third time he encountered Eliza was in town. Cole had gone to buy supplies for the horses and found Eliza beside a broken-down wagon, trying to fix something on her own. Nobody was helping her. People were walking past, nobody stopping, nobody asking. Cole got off his horse and walked over. Said nothing, just looked at the problem. 6 minutes later, it was fixed. Eliza said, "Thank you." Cole said, "You came alone? Margaret doesn't like this kind of errand." "And you?" For a moment Eliza looked at him. Then she smiled just slightly, and something moved inside Cole that he wasn't expecting. "I like the kind of work that has to get done," she said. "Whether you like it or not." Cole was quiet for a moment. Then, "Have you eaten today?" "This morning." "Come eat with me." Eliza hesitated. "People will see." "People always see," Cole said. "What about you?" And Eliza had no answer for that. So she went. They spent an hour together. Cole didn't talk much, but when he did, he said things Eliza had not expected any man to say. He asked what she read. He asked why she went to the spring. He didn't ask why she didn't look like her sister, didn't ask about marriage prospects, didn't ask what would happen to her father's land. He asked about Eliza. And Eliza found this so strange that she forgot how to speak for a little while. Raymond Calloway found out. She came home and he was standing at the door. The smell of whiskey came first. Red eyes. And that look. The one Eliza had known since she was small. The one that meant something bad was coming. "You were with Cole Harrington?" "Yes, Papa." "What did he want there?" "I ran into him in town. The wagon broke down." Quiet. Raymond's hand went up. "Does Margaret know?" Eliza said nothing. "Margaret doesn't know," Raymond said to himself. "And you, what did you think?" "Cole Harrington talks to someone like..." He stopped. His gaze went hard and sharp onto Eliza. "You're just like your mother, wanting every man to come running after you." "Papa, it wasn't like..." "Get inside." Eliza went inside, closed the door, stood with her back against it, closed her eyes. No tears came. Tears had dried up a long time ago. Just a numbness, a habit that told her this was normal, this had always been this way. But something was different today. Today, for the first time, Eliza wondered if any of it was actually normal at all. Margaret sent for Cole herself. She wrote him a letter. By hand. Beautiful handwriting. The letter said she would be glad to call on Harrington Ranch if Cole wished to see her. Cole read the letter, thought about it for an hour, then sent his man back. The answer was, "Of course." Margaret was pleased. Very pleased. Eliza watched Margaret get ready. The good dress came out, the one kept only for important occasions. An hour's worth of work went into her hair. Mirror, mirror, mirror. Looking at herself, smiling, adjusting here, adjusting there. "How do I look?" Margaret asked Eliza. Eliza said, "Beautiful. Cole will like this." Eliza said nothing, just smiled a little. Margaret left, and Eliza sat in the same spot for an hour after. The wind moved outside. Something was shifting inside her. Something that shouldn't have been shifting. Something she couldn't afford to feel. She got up and walked toward the spring. At Harrington Ranch, Margaret was received warmly. Cole was polite, offered tea, showed her around. Margaret did everything she knew how to do. Laughed, held eye contact, showed the right amount of interest, the right amount of shyness. Cole watched all of it, and felt nothing. This frustrated him when he turned it over in his mind. Margaret was beautiful. Margaret was sharp. Margaret was everything that got said about a woman. So why, after an hour with her, was he still thinking about the girl who sat at the spring with her eyes closed? Because that girl was real. That was it. That simple thing. Margaret was a performance. Eliza was a person. Cole rode to Callaway Ranch the following week. Raymond answered the door. Cole made polite conversation the way you do land, weather, the seasons. Raymond went inside for tea. And in that moment Cole noticed a door slightly ajar, and behind it was Eliza, a cloth in her hand, cleaning something, with no idea Cole was standing outside. Cole stood still for a moment and watched her. Eliza pushed her hair back with one hand, tucked it behind her ear. Then she paused, thinking about something, then went back to her work. Cole liked that. Then the door swung shut. Cole looked away. Raymond came back. Margaret appeared too, as if by coincidence, as if she hadn't known Cole was there. Cole drank his tea, made his conversation, left. He didn't go straight home. He took the long way around, the route that passed near the spring. She was there. Cole pulled up his horse and got down and walked over quietly. Eliza looked up. "You're here again," she said. "Yeah," Cole said. "You went to my house?" "Courtesy call. For Margaret." Cole was quiet for a moment. "I thought so." Something came into Eliza's eyes. A feeling that eyes try to keep hidden but don't always succeed at hiding. "She's very good," Eliza said. Her voice was even direct. "She'd be right for you." "And what do you think about me?" Cole asked straight out. Eliza looked at him. "That's not my question to answer." "You didn't answer it." "Cole." "Eliza." Silence. Water. Wind. "I don't want anyone to be hurt," Eliza finally said. "Why would anyone be hurt?" "Margaret cares about you." "I care about you." It was said so simply that Eliza had nothing to say back. Cole hadn't dressed it up, hadn't softened it, hadn't used the manner of a man who waits for a yes before speaking honestly. Just straight. Eliza looked down. "This won't be easy," she said. "I know. I won't be what everyone expects. I'm not asking what you'll be. I'm telling you where I stand." Something in Eliza's eyes that had been locked from the outside was opened from the inside for the first time. Like a door that had always been shut and someone had finally turned the handle from the right side. When Margaret found out, the house became a storm. Everything that had never come out came out. Margaret said to Eliza all the things one person can say to another when the pain runs too deep, poisoned words. The mention of their mother, the mention of their father's anger, the suggestion that Eliza had always been everyone's burden and now she'd be Cole's as well. Eliza listened, stayed quiet. "Say something," Margaret said. Her voice was full of tears. "What should I say?" Eliza said. "Apologize." "For what?" "You took my—" Margaret stopped. "You always do this. Whatever was mine, you took it." Eliza looked at her sister for a long moment, then quietly said, "Margaret, what of yours have I ever had? Papa's love? That was never mine. The town's respect? That wasn't mine either. And Cole?" She paused. "Cole chose on his own. I didn't do anything. You exist. You just exist. That's enough." This landed inside Eliza like something falling into deep water. The hurt of it was old and new at the same time. "What should I do, Margaret?" "Stop existing." Margaret didn't answer. Tears came. Then she walked to her room. And Eliza stood there. Something broken in her and something healed, both at the same time, in the same moment. When Raymond Callaway called Cole in himself and told him plainly to stay away from Eliza, Cole saw for the first time, really clearly, what had always been in that man's face. Fear. Raymond was a frightened man. His wife had left him. The land was struggling. The days of wealth were gone. And the fear that lived inside him came out on his daughter. On the daughter whose face reminded him of everything he'd lost. Cole said it plainly. "Mr. Callaway, Eliza has done nothing wrong. Not now and not before. And I intend to court her properly. Respectfully." Raymond's face went red. "You know what this girl—" "I know what she's like," Cole said. "The rest doesn't interest me." Raymond was silent for a long time. Then something happened that Cole hadn't expected. Raymond's eyes filled. An old, tired, broken man, and something had cracked open inside him. "She looks just like her mother," Raymond said quietly. "Exactly. And that," he stopped. "That's what makes it hard." Cole didn't move, just sat there. And for a little while those two men, one young, one old, sat in the same room in silence, and what was in the silence couldn't be said with words. Talk moved through Dusty Creek like water moves. From one place to the next, nobody stopping it, nobody asking whether it was true. Cole Harrington had chosen the younger Calloway girl. The one they called the other one. The one nobody had ever wanted. The one whose own father couldn't stand the sight of her, whose sister pitied her, and whose whole town was curious about her. Some people laughed. Some shook their heads. Some said Cole had lost his mind, or that there was some other reason. The land, some advantage, something practical underneath it all. And Cole watched them and said nothing, because what people thought was not Cole's problem. Cole's problem was a woman who sat at a spring with her eyes closed because it was the only place she felt at peace. And now Cole wanted her to feel peace not just there, but everywhere. When the subject of marriage came up, Margaret's feelings were the first thing that mattered. Eliza went to Margaret herself. The two of them alone in the room. Eliza said she knew this caused pain. She knew Margaret's heart was broken. And she also knew that between them, across all the years, the uneasy silences, the things said and unsaid, it hadn't been what it should have been. "I never asked anything of you," Eliza said. "I only ask that you don't make me your enemy in this." Margaret was quiet for a long time. Then she got up and went to the window. She looked out at Dusty Creek's main road. The road they'd both watched since childhood. The ranch that was both of theirs. The sky they'd both looked at from the same piece of land but perhaps in different colors. "He loves you," Margaret finally said. Her voice was flat. "Yes. And you?" "Yes." Margaret took a long breath. "What will Papa say?" "Something happened between me and Papa. He's still not well." But something came out. Eliza paused. Something real. Margaret turned and looked at Eliza. In the older sister's eyes was everything said across the years and everything never said. Both sitting there together. "I'm not happy about this," Margaret said. "Not right now. Maybe not ever. I know. But," she stopped. "It was hard. Very hard. You are my sister. And I did things I shouldn't have." Eliza had no answer. She just stood there. Margaret looked away. "Go." Eliza started toward the door. Stopped. "Eliza." "Yes." "He'll take care of you?" "Actually take care of you?" Eliza smiled. "The real kind." "Yes." Margaret only nodded. And Eliza left. The wedding was simple. Cole wanted it plain. Eliza said the same. No big gathering. No whole town invited. No crowd that would watch and gossip afterward. Just the spring. That place. Morning. Sun behind the mountains. Preacher. Raymond, who came slowly, came quietly, and stayed silent through the whole ceremony but didn't leave. Margaret came, sat in the back, kept her eyes elsewhere, but she came. 2 or 3 of Cole's close friends. And Eliza. She wore a dress she'd made herself. Simple, a creamy color, nothing elaborate. Her hair was loose, moving in the light wind. Nothing in her hands. Just her. Cole watched her walk toward him and felt something he hadn't been able to name for the past months settle into a place inside him that had been waiting for it. Out of everything he had ever seen, land, sky, rain, storm, all of it, this was the one thing that made him feel like life had a point. The vows were said. Words. But what was more than the words lived in the eyes. The things that couldn't be spoken were in the chest. The preacher said they were husband and wife. And the water moved. And the wind moved. On the first night at Harrington Ranch, Eliza came into the room and stood at the window. The sky was full of stars. Cole came and stood beside her and looked at what she was looking at. "What are you looking at?" Cole asked. "The same thing that was always there," Eliza said. "But for the first time it looks different." "Why?" Eliza turned to him. "Because for the first time someone is beside me." Cole said nothing, just took her hand. And they stood that way for a while at the window under the stars. Months passed. Dusty Creek adjusted. First there was talk, then there wasn't. First there were looks, then life moved on and so did theirs. Raymond came by one morning. Alone. Early. Eliza was home. Cole wasn't. Raymond came inside. Sat down. Stayed quiet for a long time. Eliza made tea. Set it in front of him. Raymond started. Stopped. Started again. I know that with you, I know I did things that. Papa. I want to talk. Eliza held her cup. All right. And Raymond talked. For the first time in his life he said the things that come from the inside, the shaking kind of talking, the voice-breaking kind. He told her about her mother. The truth of it. That she'd left because Raymond had never understood her. That Eliza had done nothing wrong. That what he'd done to Eliza was wrong, and he knew it, and he knew the words weren't enough. Eliza listened. Didn't cry. Didn't get angry. Just listened. You won't forgive me, Raymond said. And you shouldn't. You don't forgive a father, Eliza said. You love a father. Even when he's broken all the way through. Raymond's eyes filled. An old man carrying his whole life's weight had sat down in that chair, and one small sentence had broken him apart and put something back together, both at once. About a year later, something new arrived. Cole learned that an old enemy from his father's time had come back to Dusty Creek. A man who claimed a portion of Harrington land on the basis of some old document. A man with eyes that weren't right. A man named Jack Mercer. The weeks that followed were dangerous. Jack began talking through town. About Cole's father. About Cole. About Eliza. All the things that get said about someone when you can't knock them down straight, so you try to knock down the ground beneath them instead. Cole heard it on the wind. Friends brought pieces of it to him, and he was angry, but not the kind of angry that raises a hand. Eliza saw that Cole was carrying something inside. What happened? She asked one evening. Cole told her. All of it. Jack Mercer. The document. The claim. The talk. Eliza listened. Then after a moment she got up. Went to the wardrobe and pulled out an old wooden box. Cole watched, surprised, as she opened it and took out papers. What is this? Cole asked. The old dispute between your father and Jack Mercer. Papa mentioned it once, a long time ago, and I wrote down what I could. I kept these. She held the papers out to Cole. There's something in here that will hold up in court. Cole looked at the papers. Then at Eliza. How did you? I thought it might be needed one day. She looked down. I should have told you about it sooner. Cole set the papers down. He moved close, took her face in his hands. Don't ever apologize for that, he said. Jack Mercer's case went to court. Cole's lawyer presented the papers Eliza had kept all those years. The case was closed within a month. Jack Mercer left Dusty Creek. Cole stood at his window that night looking out at the dark. Eliza was beside him. Is it finished? Eliza asked. Yeah. Are you all right? Cole looked at her. Rain-colored eyes. That way of looking at someone that is always straight, always real. You're here, Cole said. So everything's all right. Simple words. Small words. But the things that reach the heart are usually small. Within 2 years, things changed at Callaway Ranch. Raymond quit drinking. Not all the way, not immediately, but most of it. No doctor, no program, just one morning he woke up and decided. When Eliza found out, she went over and spent an hour with him. Asked what he needed. Raymond said nothing, just that she should come by sometimes. Eliza said she would. Margaret got married. A man from another town. No grand story, just a steady man, an engineer, someone who lived far from Dusty Creek. Margaret didn't come back often, but when she did she spoke to Eliza. Small things. Nothing with the depth that sisters ought to have, but what was there was genuine. And genuine small things are better than hollow large ones. One morning Eliza went to the spring. Alone. She still went there once a week in the early morning. She sat, put her feet in the water, closed her eyes. The wind was there. The water was there. Everything was the same as it always had been. But something was new. That emptiness wasn't there. The hollow quiet that used to come when she closed her eyes and voices rose up from inside telling her she wasn't enough. She wasn't what she should be. She was the other one. Those voices were still there. They don't ever fully leave. But now there was another voice too. A particular kind. The kind that belongs to rain-colored eyes. Eliza opened her eyes and looked at the sky. The sun was coming up. That orange light behind the mountains. The same as always. But Eliza was different. Cole came to the spring later that morning. He saw from a distance that Eliza was there. He stopped, looked at her for a moment. Then he got off his horse and walked over. Sat beside her. Put his own feet in the water. Neither of them spoke. The water moved. The wind moved. Cole reached out his hand. Eliza put her hand in his. No words. No questions. Nothing said. Just those two people. That water. That wind. That morning light coming over the mountains. And in that moment in Dusty Creek, when the rich cowboy had chosen the girl everyone called the other one, this was what had actually happened. One person had seen another person. Fully. Without removing anything. Without any condition. Without caring what the town thought or what the father wanted or what the sister said. And that is what love is. That. Only that. It isn't a special thing. It isn't a storm. It isn't a mystery. It's one person who wakes up every morning and decides, I am here. And another person who says, I am here too. And you are here. And that is enough. It was enough. The water moved. The wind moved. The sun rose. And those two people sat at the edge of the spring, hand in hand, quiet, alive.